Okay, so I thought I had a, well, this vehicle has a coolant leak. It's a 2005 Chevy Tahoe with a 5.3 liter flex fuel engine. I thought it was at the back of the head leaking down where the little caps are for the water bleed tubes. And when I changed the gasket for the valley cover, I changed those gaskets too. And I thought I had gotten it because it wasn't leaking after that. But this has a cold leak. And when it's warm, it doesn't leak. But when it's cold, it'll leak. So it took a little while to find it because we drove it, we brought it back, it sat there. I looked underneath it like 20 minutes later and there was nothing there, so I thought, oh, I got it. So the next day there was a big spot under it, and I thought, well, I wonder if I got it. So the day after that there was another spot under it. Every time I looked, I couldn't see anything leaking because what would happen is the engine would heat up, and the pressure would build in the coolant system, and it would seal the leak off. And then as it cooled down, there was pressure in the cooling system, and then that forced the coolant out. So it was kind of timing it. It actually takes a little while for it to actually start leaking. And so I seen a couple days ago when it came back, there was nothing under it. So I looked maybe like 2 hours later, and there was a spot starting to form. So I got under there, and I took a flashlight, and then I located the leak. So what's happening is, right here, you get these two T's that go into the heater core, because this has a rear heater core also. So that's what these two tubes go to. They go to the rear heater box in the back. So what's happening is the fitting that's on the front heater core on the right side, when it warms up, the aluminum on the tube seals the leak. But as it cools down, the aluminum shrinks, and then it starts leaking. So that's where my leak was, and it would drip off of there, and it would go down on. It would leak onto the transmission dipstick tube, and then it would run down the transmission dipstick tube, and then it would leak off the bottom of the transmission. So that kind of made it a little bit harder to find too, because it wasn't actually leaking up front by the engine, it was leaking in the middle. So that's where my leak is. So I got this T-fitting here. That's the part number. There are two different styles. This one here, you see how it's I'll take it out. It's hard to show you because it's up underneath the firewall cowl there. So there's two different sizes. You see this tube here goes into this section where it's smaller, and that's what this style is, which is on the right side. And then the other one, this thicker section, comes down to here. So this tube goes into the thicker section. So there are two different types. They give a couple of different measurements. One was like 111 millimeters, one was 113. I don't really know that matters because it's really only like that much difference. I can't see that being an issue. It's probably just specs that they give you when you're purchasing them. That's what was on Rock Auto. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to attempt to change this, and my only concern is the hose, the heater hose that plugs into this male end here. There's an O-ring in there obviously too, and I'm sure everybody knows that over time O-rings tend to lose their O-ringiness, and then they get flat spots, and then they don't like to seal well. So my concern is that that's going to seal well. So I'm going to see if I can just change the O-ring out. I have an O-ring kit that I got a while ago, so I'll see if I can change that out. They're all kind of quick connects, so we'll see if I can just unhook them and pull them out, or whether I need my disconnect tool things. Well, I'll give this a try, see if I can record it. It's kind of a small area, so it's real difficult for you to see. So I just got you kind of balanced, so hopefully I don't slide around. I think these are 5/8. Yeah, I think it's a 5/8 tube. So I'm just using this little disconnect thing. You put it around the line, then you slide it down to push the tabs out. I don't necessarily know that I need it, but I might need it in the back. I don't know. It's nice and cold out. This plastic is like a razor. Well, this, I could tell, is not going to be very fun. So, not gonna gain me much. All right, let's try something different. Try a little 90-degree pick here. Maybe I can just kind of pull the little clips out. All right, there's one. Oh, it's got a couple of rings in there. That might be all right. So, well, I'm gonna have to fight with that one on the inside there, and I'm pretty sure I'm gonna knock the camera over. But I'll get you a little bit of a better shot of what I'm doing. So in see where I got the clip on there. Way up here. So you got these little hooks right here that hold onto this ring that's on the tube. Ring looks like this. So you got those hooks in there. Initially, to get this one off, I just kind of push this tab back to get it to release out of the clip. I guess you can take them apart both ways. So I'm going to fight with this one up here, and because this hard line comes out of the side over here, I think I have to take this off first and then pull it back, and then I can release this one and then slide it out. I think that's how that's going to have to come out of there. So I'll let you know how I get it out. Alright, took some wrestling, but I got it off. I ended up taking that cover off there so I wouldn't have to fight up against it. And plus I leaned on it and then it popped up out and got in my way. So, I mean, basically this is supposed to come out by bending these tabs in. See how it, when you bend them in, that little piece comes out. I don't know if you can see. But when you bend them in, that tab's supposed to come out. The problem is, over time, they don't really do that, so you bend them in and they don't actually come out. At least that's the problem I was having with the little one. The big one off the heater core, that actually, I was able to squeeze that in and pull that off. The one over here, it wasn't actually releasing for the little auxiliary heater core. So that one wasn't releasing, so I had to kind of work at it, and I finally got it off. So inside this end here, there are 2 O-rings. I pulled them out with this little 90-degree pick here. So let's set you up. Alright, so inside here there are 2 O-rings. I believe they are R11. That's what was in the kit that I had. So I pulled the 2 O-rings out. There's this little stopper ring that's inside there too. So there's like a little plastic seal right here. I tried to pull that out, but it wasn't really coming out, and I kind of slipped by it and put a little scratch in it, so I'm hoping that doesn't cause an issue sealing. But anyway, so there's this little black one here, or thicker plastic ring, and then there was an O-ring behind that, and then directly behind that there was this little backup ring that, I don't know if you could see me moving it, but anyway, it's in there. So there was an O-ring on one side of that, and there was an O-ring on the other side of that. So I believe they were R11. Let's see if I can get you any closer. That's about the best I can do. So I got the new ones. I'm just going to try to get them in there. So yeah, you can see a little ring right there. So one goes on this side and one goes on this side, and they're both on the inside of this black plastic ring here. So let's give it a try. So if I pull this little backup ring all the way to the top, it'll probably be easier to get that one in behind it. Having trouble getting it sideways once it's in there. Let's see, I need another type of implement here. Nice if I had 3 hands. I was going to try to buy this piece here, but I didn't know the size that I needed, because they sell them in 3/4 and they sell them in 5/8. This particular one is a 5/8, just in case you're wondering. I know I had a, well, I didn't have a, but that GMC that I have, this piece actually broke right off there and I lost all the coolant. And that one was a 3/4 hole. I think it was a 3/4 to a 5/8 hose. So this piece was for 3/4. But well, actually taking it apart, I didn't know what this one was going to be. So I just said, well, we'll give it a try. If it breaks, then I'll deal with it when it breaks. There's one. This one's being a little tricky too. Try to hold it in there. So I just kind of pinning it up against the side so it doesn't slip by. That's gonna work. Those are the right size O-rings. Alright. I guess we'll try that. Seems to be right. I mean, they matched up to these ones. At least the inside diameter. These ones were like a little bit wider. I'm hoping that it's not like a wide type of O-ring. I figured but those ones are a little thicker, so I think that these just got some squish in them and they just got wider. I don't know. And they still kind of feel soft. So I mean, maybe I'm making a mistake trying to change these. Let's give that a try. I mean, it's right on the end there, so it shouldn't be that big of a deal if I gotta change it. Alright, so I wiped a little bit of coolant on these. This kind of helped this O-ring slide on. I'll try to put this smaller one in first. Or maybe I can just push them both on at the same time. Yep. So. 1. 2. And both on. And 3. And it was way faster than coming apart. Alright, so I started up and that adapter is kind of transparent, so I could see that coolant got in there. So I'm going to pressure test it, see what we get. Being that it was a cold leak. So I got that kit. Here's the adapter for the Chevy 12032, or for this type of bottle. I had one. I tried an International, the older Internationals. It would thread on, but it didn't have this inside adapter, so it wouldn't seal. It just, I mean, everything blew out that, not the overflow, but the vent line right here. So you got to have this one with the inside seal to seal it. So we're gonna put like 10 pounds or something in there, 15 pounds, I don't know. I think it's like 10. You don't want to go crazy because obviously it only holds so much. I initially got this to find the coolant leak, but laziness got the better of me, and then I just happened to stumble on it. So first time I tried to use this, so hopefully it works. What's cap say? Cap says 15 pounds. 15 pounds. So, you know, I keep trying to not say so much, but it's difficult because I don't have another word to fill in that gap. All right. Let's come over here. We can look at our fittings. I don't see anything leaking, so I'm gonna call that a fix. So, you know, that's well, how you do that, I guess. I mean, so my pressure's holding right where I left it last. So I'll let it sit here a little bit, and we'll see how it goes. I don't foresee there being any other leaks, but I guess if there are, then I'll come back to it, or I'll repair it. I mean, I don't think that I mean, I think the only place I'm going to have a leak is going to be on the heater line fitting that I changed the O-rings in, but it went on there pretty good, so I don't think I'm going to have a problem with it. So I just got to put that cover back on, and I believe we should be fixed this time. So keep my fingers crossed. I mean, how many times can you be wrong, right? Anyway, I thank you for watching, and I hope I can help somebody. So I left it on here for a little bit. My pressure stayed the same. I haven't had any leaks. One thing I forgot to mention earlier is that before you push those fittings on, make sure that the male end is clean, that there isn't like little bits of O-ring or anything stuck on it. The heater core had a little bit of kind of transfer from the O-ring on it. So I had to make sure I cleaned that off and kind of scrape it down. You want to be careful not to put gouges in it, because you can obviously develop a leak through any type of real crack. But just make sure you use a fingernail or something, but make sure you clean off any type of debris that might be around the tube that sticks out. I don't believe I have the other piece out here to show you, but anyway, just make sure the sealing surface is clean so you don't get any leaks by putting it on there, because if anything gets under the O-ring, it's not going to seal. Alright, I was able to find it. So right here, this is the sealing surface that's going to be on the heater core and on the line to the auxiliary heater core. So you want to make sure that there isn't anything stuck on there, because sometimes where the O-ring sits, it'll kind of rub and leave a little bit of debris or something, or a little bit of corrosion or anything around there. So you just want to make sure you kind of scrape it off so it's nice and smooth and clean. That way the O-ring will sit flush all the way around, because there's a little something under there to hold up on the edge, and it'll leak by. So something to keep in mind.